This is the award-winning In Wheel Time car show, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin, I'm Don Armstrong, coming to you from Studio A in Houston, Texas. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I hope the weather is nice where you are. A new report by Copilot looking at the United States that experienced the largest increase in road fatalities during holidays. Amid the pandemic, many Americans opting to travel by car this holiday season, while most states report the biggest uptick in road fatalities during the 4th of July holiday. Driving-related deaths across the country increased more than 30% during holidays in general each year. In Texas, fatal crashes increased by 35.4% during holidays. In fact, 6.6 of all fatal crashes in Texas occurred during holidays. Out of all U.S. states, Texas experiences the 19th largest increase in fatal crashes during holidays. Around Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, the rate of fatal car accidents increases by over 10%. In addition to busier roads, holiday season is also associated with increased drunk driving. Data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration indicates that drunk driving is particularly prevalent during the New Year's holiday, as 42% of fatal crashes during this holiday period involve a driver over the legal limit. By comparison, 30% of fatal crashes during non-holiday periods involve drunk drivers. So I just wanted to mention that. So please don't drink and drive. You know, and these days it's there's so many options. Call Uber or Lyft or whoever the case may be.
Yeah. You know, and it's just smart to go ahead and find somebody to drive you as opposed to getting yourself in trouble behind the wheel, because they're out looking for you, you know, and also in today's world, you know, somebody's going to see that you're having troubles driving and they're going to call you in and they're going to come and get you. So there's no reason to get behind the wheel.
Yeah, they're going to call you on it.
Yeah.
Well, it's time now to go to our interview this hour, and he is the head of the Jeep brand, and his name is Mr. Jim Morrison. And no, he is not the head of a rock group, as much as everybody would like.
He's
but
a
I know
superstar.
He's probably heard that all of his life. And look at him up there.
He's already grinning.
With the grin on his face. Jim, good morning. It's great to see you, brother. Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Well, we were doing good for a minute.
Yeah.
Well,
so
you're kind of locked up there.
Yeah, he's all locked up. So we're going to wait and reestablish contact with Jim. But are going to talk to Jim about the Wrangler 392. And I don't know whether you guys have heard about the 392 or not. But basically, the 392 is a HEMI.
Well, that's the hot rod HEMI, too.
It's a hot rod HEMI that is non-turbocharged. So it's naturally aspirated 392. And I was going to tell Jim that my favorite engine. Don't get me wrong. I love the Red Eye. I love the Hellcat. I love all of that. But the 392 strikes a note with me. That it is my go-to. One is you can get the thing in a manual transmission, which I like, which you can't with the
Hellcat.
The Hellcat or the Red Eye. There's that. But there's something about that naturally aspirated motor that just sings that sweet note.
Well, it brings back the memories of the old 426 HEMI, because it's all torque, it's big cubic inches, and it's a HEMI. I mean, ultimately, you know, anybody with a performance mind an automotive performance mind understands what HEMI means to the performance industry. And they've been using that 392 in the Challengers, in the Chargers and stuff, in their SRT 8s and all of those for some time. And now finally for Jeep to bring it back, or to bring it into the Wrangler, and it's got all the full factory warranty. It's a step above what a lot of aftermarket shops are doing that are adding HEMIs to the vehicle. You know, now you have a HEMI that's you know going to be factory warranted at 450 horsepower inside of a Jeep Wrangler. Oh my gosh!
I want to take you for a ride. You'll be screaming like a little girl over there.
Happily. I'll be happily. It'd be like being on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I'd be thrilled to death.
When was the last time they put a V8 in a Jeep Wrangler? 70s? Was it the 70s? I don't know. Jim would know. But anyway, we're trying to reestablish contact with him. I can look it up here. But I have to tell you that there is some sort of appeal to, for me anyway, for the Jeep Wrangler to have a V8 in it, much less a 392 V8.
Yeah.
But
Their hot rod V8 without putting the supercharger on it.
right, and so clearly you don't need all of that to have an off-road experience, although it is nice. I would imagine that the 392, to me, would be more of an on-the-road kind of experience for the most part, you know?
Well, it's still going to give you the off-road capabilities because it's going to have so much torque down low, which is what you want when you're going off-road.
And I think we got Jim back.
We do?
Yep, he's out tooling around in his Jeep.
No doubt. All right, well, let's go to Jim. Jim, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I see that you've tethered it to the car, and now we can see you and hear you.
Yeah. I think. Sorry about that. I was trying to get you a better vantage point, and I live on a dirt road, so it was a dirt road or all the cool decorations behind me on the house. So sorry, I was going for the Christmas effect. Sorry.
Well, no. There's no reason to apologize. So, Jim, we were just talking about the 392 and the V8 history in the Wrangler. When was the last time, before this time, that Jeep put a V8 in a Wrangler?
It was in the about 30 years ago in the CJ.
It was in the CJ. Okay.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun, and one of the most common requests that we've had. I mean, customers have asked us to put a diesel in the Wrangler. They asked us to bring back the Gladiator, and they asked us to put a V8 in the Wrangler. So, happy to listen to our customers, and I have to say it's an unbelievable rig now with the 392. I'm sitting in mine, so I'll fire it up. I don't know if you can hear it, but
did you have the boys in the shop put cutouts on it?
No, there's a nice little. I flip this around here, but there's a button on the dash, so it's active exhaust. So it's a normal sounding Wrangler. You can kind of sneak around your suburb or whatever, and then watch this. You push the and then you instantly have the sound.
Oh, that's the button I'll push every time I'm underneath an interstate highway bridge.
Exactly.
Whack the throttle 2 or 3 times just to shake everybody's car around me.
Yeah, it just makes you smile. I've been driving it for a couple of weeks now, and since we introduced it, and it just, everybody needs to smile more these days. And I can tell you, I find myself to find an excuse just to go for a rip down the road. But in proper Wrangler form, it's been getting dirty too. So you can see that I was out wheeling last weekend with my son, and we had the power roof open, and we got dirt and mud and sand in the back seat. So we need to spend a little bit of time cleaning it out. But
It's a Jeep.
That 470 torque, man, it's incredible. We were climbing 45-degree angle hills in the sand, and it's just got so much torque. It's just amazing. And we make the lockers work in high range now as well.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
some high range or high speed maneuvering up hills, before where the vehicle would be a little bit tied up at the top, have the extra torque. This thing is amazing. Got all the torque. You can use it in 4 high as well. So 470 pound-feet of torque in a Wrangler is absolutely impressive.
Jim, does it come with a manual or automatic or both?
They're all automatics, and they're all 4 doors. The 392s.
Okay. Is there a reason that it's not available in the short wheelbase 2-door?
Yeah, it would probably make it flip over. It's got so much torque.
Too much juice.
I got you.
Are you thinking about maybe even the Gladiator?
We'll see how this goes. I mean, it's the Gladiator is doing really well with the diesel.
Yeah.
And got 442 pound-feet of torque, not quite as much as the 470. But it's got a little, with a little more of the utilitarian for the guys that are working it, or they're putting, 35s or 37s. The diesel is what we've got in the Gladiator for now. So we'll see how it goes. But right now we're happy with the diesel.
And didn't you guys have to doesn't it get kind of a special hood and some extra ventilation to get some of that engine heat out from underneath? So you're bringing more cold air in as well?
Yeah, I can show you at risk of actually losing signal. But yeah, it does. It's got a really cool separator too, because we needed to be able to have it, breathe. All right, so it's got direct air intake here in this new special 392 hood, and it also it's a cool separator. So the boys know that I've always been pushing the limits with water and Jeeps in Texas. Remember that year we had one up with water over the roof. Anyway, it won that year, so that was
It was worth it,
really
right?
cool. Well, yeah. But if you look up here, the hydro guide is what we call it, but there's a separator up underneath there, and it separates the air and the water and any debris.
Oh, wow.
So it pulls all of the clean air right down here into the air induction system of the 392. So it's actually a pretty cool setup because it needed to breathe, obviously, to get 470 horsepower and 470 torque out of this 392 cubic inch engine. So
Kind of fills up under the hood, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, it does. We had to fill almost every inch of space under the hood, and the other thing that we had to do in order to fit it in there is we had to lift the Jeep. So as you know, for me, that's never bad. We gave it another inch of lift when we did that too. So all 392s will be lifted as well.
How much engineering did you have to put into this as far as suspension is concerned to be able to handle all that horsepower?
Yeah, we did it quite a bit, and the people that did this with us are really, really good. So you'll notice they're Fox shocks. We've got gold springs and gold shocks that are specially tuned, here for the 392, and it gives you a really cool ride. It also has beadlock capable wheels on the BFG KO2. So nice. All the accents are bronze, even right down to the detail on the shocks, that have been specially tuned, here for the 392.
So you've done way, way more than just stuff a big engine in there. It's the engine, the suspension, the body, all of those pieces come together to make this quite a special truck.
Yeah, for sure. And then I know you guys have a dog. I have a cat. I have a special cat. Meet Elliot. He's climbing up the. Anyway, so that was kind of fun. So the cat comes extra.
So your Jeep Wrangler will go any place and it'll take your cat with you.
Yeah, that's funny.
So
Elliot.
Jim, when we're talking about the suspension, I wanted to ask you, when you integrate this 392 in there, clearly you have to make some changes, adjustments, some additions to the computer stability control system as well, do you not?
Yes. Yeah, the guys did a really good job with managing the torque. It has a full-time or auto transfer case that helps us manage the torque, because it's a lot of torque to put down, and the guys did that. So it's basically four-wheel drive all of the time, and with that we had to obviously make the adjustments with the chassis electronics and the electronic stability control in order to really make it a complete system.
Is that a cat? Wait, I think I saw the
Elliot.
cat.
He's back.
Elliot's
Elliot.
the friendly
Elliot.
cat.
Yeah.
Elliot loves this Jeep. He's got some footprints in the Jeep. I don't know what he's been up to, but
Smart cat.
yeah.
So what's availability going to be like on the 392?
Well, we started into production in Q1, and we're being a little bit coy with the volumes, because I don't want the competition to know.
There is no competition.
Yeah, really, there's not, comparatively speaking.
There really isn't. And it's a lot of fun, but we're going to do what we can to fill our customer sold orders really fast and get these things in the marketplace to make more people smile. So it's going to be a lot of fun with with the 392.
Well, I'm hoping I'm going to get the first drive on the 392 when it gets in the Texas press fleet.
Yeah, I think I can't wait to get back, driving with you guys, and I think, the smiles per hour that you'll have with this vehicle are just unbelievable. So I can't wait to get you in this vehicle and make you smile and really, give you something that nobody else can in the marketplace. Open air freedom, all the power and torque you could ever imagine. And don't forget, we've got the electric Wrangler coming as well next year, which is we're calling 4xe. It's going to have the same amount of torque that this vehicle has, but it's going to do it in a completely, different way. All electric, quiet, and seamless operation for a for a hybrid. So it's something else that we're bringing to market next year with the Wrangler. So it's going to be a busy year.
Jim, before we end our conversation, I'd be not doing my due diligence if I didn't ask you, how are things going with the FCA PSA merger?
It's coming together and very logical choice in so many ways, and great people. I haven't been a lot to do with it, but the exposure that I have had so far has been very, very positive. And interestingly enough, my very first vehicle, I had back in the 80s was a Peugeot 504, hand me down from my grandmother. So I know a little bit about the Peugeot stuff. So
well, the other thing that you've got going for you is that you have a pretty good working relationship with Mike Manley, who's kind of leading the charge on the FCA side. Yeah,
for sure. I've worked for Mike now since 2010, and he understands Jeep. He's formed Jeep. Man, he's taken Jeep from, selling, 300,000 units to 1.3 million globally, and looking for more of that same sort of stuff here in the future. Well,
we don't get obviously a lot of news about the FCA merger, and really, we're more the user end kind of guys down here. But that we're pulling for you guys, and we know that this is going to be a great thing, making you guys the number 4 car manufacturer on the globe. I mean, it's a huge deal, and I don't think that a lot of people really understand the gravity of it all.
Yeah, with the efficiencies, that we're looking to gain, by really being a mega volume manufacturer, will sure be good. And the collection of brands that we have is just amazing. So really looking forward to next year with all of that stuff. And then on the Jeep side, like I talked about, launching, the 392 that we're just talking about, launching the 4xe Wrangler. We got a new Grand Cherokee and this new thing called Grand Wagoneer we're bringing to market. So there'll be no sleeping in the Jeep camp here next year for sure.
Well, I have to tell you that I'll remind you anyway that the last time that we spoke, that you said, well, I'm going to have some really big news here in the next couple of weeks. And boom, there it was, the 392. So you've already kind of delved into what's coming up. You got any other little tidbits for us before we say goodbye?
Yeah, just think Grand Wagoneer. My biggest challenge is trying to figure out what's going to be SUV at Texas next year. We got a new Grand Cherokee. We got a new cat. We got...
Hey, it's climbing your shoulders there.
Elliot's climbing out, and we got a new Grand Wagoneer. So it's going to be hard. We may need 2 SUVs of Texas here next year.
But Texas is big enough to handle it.
Yeah, we can do it.
Jim, it's always great to talk to you. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your Saturday, and go enjoy the cat, and we'll talk at you later.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to the horses. The cat can look after himself.
All right, brother. Well, it's great to see you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Stay safe and good luck with the merger. We'll talk to you soon.
Merry Christmas to you guys, too.
Take care. Thanks.
Jim Morrison with Jeep. He's the head of the Jeep brand.
Cool
Always
interview.
good to talk to him. Yeah, very, very good. Hey, you can always get a hold of us through Facebook, our website, or email us at info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for Conrad's Car Clinic. And today, from what I understand, we're going to start talking about brake fluid.
Brake fluid. I get a lot of questions from technicians and such about the different brake fluids that are out there and the interchangeability of them. And really, to simplify it, There's lots of specifications on brake fluid, but let's talk about the four basics. There's a DOT 3 fluid, which is factory filled. DOT stands for Department of Transportation, and Department of Transportation says DOT 3 fluid can't boil below 401 degrees. So brake fluid boiling point is a lot of what drives the DOT 3, DOT 4, DOT 5, DOT 5.1. So to understand the differences between the three of them, DOT 3, DOT 4, and DOT 5.1 all start life as a similar liquid, a glycerin-based product. Now, DOT 5 is a silicon-based brake fluid. It's really only going to be used on super high-performance race cars and stuff, and that's probably going to have a boiling point somewhere north of 600 degrees, where DOT 3 is going to be a 400-degree boiling point. DOT 4 is going to be about a 450-degree boiling point, and then a DOT 5.1 is going to be somewhere up in the 500-degree boiling point. And what's important to understand is the boiling point of brake fluid is at what point does the fluid begin to bubble? Because you use brake fluid because if you go back to Physics 101, you can't compress a liquid. So, when you push on one side, the brakes apply on the other side, from the brake pedal to the brake calipers and wheel cylinders. You don't get any loss of performance as you step on the brake pedal. But when you add bubbles in it and air pockets or steam pockets, and the steam being caused by some liquid that can be, or some water that can be in the brake fluid, that steam or those air pockets, because the brake fluid boils, is what causes that sponginess to your brake pedal. And that sponginess to your brake pedal affects your brake performance and can cause longer stopping distances. One of the other points about brake fluid is it's hygroscopic. It's always wanting to absorb moisture. So anytime you open that brake master cylinder cap, moisture gets in there just from the humidity in the air. As the brake pistons move back and forth inside the caliper, inside the wheel cylinders, they get microscopic amount of moisture into the brake fluid, and that moisture is where you get small amounts of moisture create steam, because you're talking about brake fluid that, let's say you're talking about on the front rotors. You're driving a pickup truck 70, 75 miles an hour down the highway. You pull off to the side and exit and come down to the light, and you're sitting there waiting at the light. Those brake rotors may be 600, 700, 800 degrees, and if you're carrying much weight, going above 800 and 900 degrees, and that big cast iron brake rotor is maybe an inch away from about 4 or 5 ounces of brake fluid inside the caliper. So transferring that heat into that fluid happens quite often. And that's why the higher boiling point brake fluids are real important. DOT 3 is the factory fill on probably 97% of the vehicles in the industry. Even the high-end Corvettes are factory filled with DOT 3 brake fluid. DOT 4 brake fluid is totally interchangeable with DOT 3 brake fluid. I always recommend a DOT 4 brake fluid because you want that little bit of a safety factor of a higher boiling point brake fluid. And then the DOT 5.1, which is even a little bit more a higher performance brake fluid with a higher boiling point above that. It never hurts to have a higher quality fluid inside your system, but you have to change your brake fluid with regularity. That regularity is, I'm going to tell you, the manufacturers are going to say every 2 to 3 years, and I really wouldn't go beyond 3 years without changing your brake fluid. You've got some manufacturers tell you to change the brake fluid every 20,000 miles, some every 30, some every 3 years.
I have a question for you, sir.
Sure.
So I have a Corvette, 2001 Corvette. What fluid did it come with?
DOT 3.
So what would you recommend that I'm going to have it serviced here soon? What would you recommend that I put in it?
Well, I'd put BG's Ultra Dry DOT 4 brake fluid in it, but I always recommend people to put a good quality DOT 4 brake fluid.
DOT 4.
Yeah, don't put the cheap stuff in it. You can always get cheap fluid, but when you get cheap fluid, you get cheap fluid, regardless of if it's engine oil, transmission fluid, brake fluid. You know, I'm not a big believer in just buying because of price. You want to buy because of quality. Now, .4 fluid requires a higher quality because it's a higher boiling point by specification from the Department of Transportation. I would highly recommend you put a .4 fluid in it, because I tell people to put .4 fluid in everything. It's totally interchangeable. The price difference is a couple of dollars. It's not a big range price difference to go to the 3. Now, when you go to the .5.1, the price range spreads, but just a .4 fluid, and the same brake flush process is the same regardless of what fluid that you use. But if you're going to switch to .5, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars because you have to change all the seals and you're using a silicon-based fluid. I tell people don't waste your money on .5, and we'll talk a little bit more about it next week.
All right. Thank you, sir. A couple of stories I wanted to get in before we close out this portion of the show. Hyundai is recalling 129,000 U.S. vehicles for an engine issue that can increase the risk of a thermal event. The recall covers some 2015 to 2016 Velosters, 2012 Santa Fe, 2011 to 2013 Sonata Hybrid, and the 16 Sonata Hybrid. Connecting rod bearings inside the engine may wear prematurely, which over time can result in engine damage.
Catastrophic engine failure.
Oh, my God. You've got to be kidding me. You never hear about that anymore. Volkswagen is terminating its motorsport activities at its namesake car division and reassigning employees to work on its growing line of electric vehicles. Motorsport unit, employing 169 people, will be folded into the parent company. The division is already working on a prototype electric race car called the IDR and will now help develop the brand's growing range of electric models. Well, that's it for this hour of the In Wheel Time Car Show. We've got another segment coming right up after this quick break, so stay with us.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy a Lupi Tortilla breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, December 19th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all in one place. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a 3-hour friends and family event. The Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 19th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too, and you're invited to join us. We'll see you there. Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com.